Hello students, this is your revision lecture of Mathematics class 8th, chapter 10, Visualizing Solid Shapes. Here in this lecture, I will summarize all the shown topics which we have studied in the previous lecture. Like I will tell you again about dimensions. Further in dimensions, we have studied about 1D, 2D and 3D. Then we will move to formation of solids. I will show you how cylinder, cuboid and cones are being formed. Then we will revise perspectives of solids. Then next concept will be mapping space around us. And after that we will study about polyhedrons and its types. And along with polyhedrons, I will also tell you what are non-polyhedrons. And last but not the least, we will study about Euler's formula also. So these are the topics which we have covered in this lecture in the previous lectures, and these are the topics which we will revise again so that you should have a better understanding of all these topics. Let us introduce this chapter with the dimensions. We have studied about dimensions 1D, 2D and 3D, that is D stands for dimension. According to the dimensions a figure has, the shapes or the various figures are being divided into 1D, 2D and 3D objects or figures or shapes you can say. Then formation and perspectives of solids. So what do you mean by a dimension? Dimension is basically a measurable length along a direction. Dimensions are length, breadth or width or height or depth. So what do you mean by a dimension? Dimension is a measurable length along a direction, and dimensions are length, breadth or width or height, or you can say depth. And then based on the number of dimensions a figure has, there are one-dimensional, two-dimensional and three-dimensional figures. So according to the dimensions or based on the number of dimensions a figure has, we have 1D shapes, 2D shapes and 3D shapes or figures you can say. So what do you mean by a dimension? Dimension is a measurable length along a direction. Dimensions are length, breadth or width or height or depth. Based on the number of dimensions a figure has, there are one-dimensional, two-dimensional and three-dimensional figures. Then, what do you mean by one-dimensional figures? As the name indicates, one dimension, figures having only one dimension. They do not enclose any area and have only one direction or one dimension. A ray or a line segment are the examples of 1D figures. So, what are 1D figures or one-dimensional figures? They do not enclose any area and have only one direction. 1D, obviously, as the name indicates, the figures having one dimension, that are known as 1D figures. For example, a ray or a line segment. Coming to 2D figures. What are two-dimensional figures? As the name indicates, the figures having two dimensions. They have an area associated with them. They have length and breadth or width. As I told you, the figures having two dimensions, that is length and breadth or width, are known as 2D figures or 2D shapes, or two-dimensional figures or two-dimensional shapes. They have an area associated with them. They are usually plane figures like squares, rectangles, triangles and circles. So two-dimensional figures have an area associated with them. They have length and breadth or width. And they are usually plane figures like squares, rectangles, triangles and circles. These are the shapes, or these are the plane figures. These are the 2D figures which are being shown on the screen. Now coming to 3D figures. What do you mean by 3D figures? As the name indicates, the figures or the shapes having three dimensions. So shapes which can be measured in three directions are called three-dimensional shapes. These shapes are also called solid shapes. As the chapter name is visualizing solid shapes, so we are basically concerned about the 3D shapes. And what are solid shapes? 3D shapes or 3D figures are the solid shapes. So the shapes which can be measured in 3 directions are called 3-dimensional shapes. These shapes are also called solid shapes. Length, width and height, or you can say depth or thickness, are their dimensions. Now, cubes, cylinders, cone, cuboid, spheres are the examples of 3D figures. These are the examples you can see: cube, cuboid, hexagonal prism, sphere, cylinder, cone, and these are their shapes or the figures. I hope it is very much clear to you now. So, 3-dimensional shapes are the shapes which can be measured in 3 directions, and they are also called solid shapes. Now, in our vicinity, we see several objects which are the combinations of different shapes. For example, you must have seen all these objects in your vicinity, and these are basically the combination of different shapes. Like the first one, a tent. In this, a cone is surmounted on a cylindrical shape, or a cone surmounted on a cylinder is the combination of different shapes. Second is a tin, a cylindrical shell. Then we have softy or the ice cream, which you all love to eat. So this is a cone surmounted on a hemisphere. Basically, without knowing or without taking care of the shapes of these figures, we normally use it. But we should know that we are dealing with these shapes in our daily life some or the other way. Then we have a photo frame, a rectangular path, then a hemispherical shell, then likewise a tomb on a pillar, that is a cylinder surmounted. I hope all these several objects you must have seen, and so you should know now that these are the combinations of different shapes which we see normally around us. Now, how the solid shapes are being formed? Actually, one-dimensional figures are being used to make two-dimensional figures, and three-dimensional figures are being made using two-dimensional figures. So stacking of two-dimensional figures results in solid shapes. For example, linear stacking of circles forms the solid shape called cylinder. So if we will stack the circles in a linear manner, then we will get a solid shape, that is a cylinder. So one-dimensional figures are used to make two-dimensional figures. Two-dimensional figures are used to make three-dimensional figures, and three-dimensional figures are known as solid shapes. So two-dimensional figures, either they can be stacked in a linear manner or they can be stacked in a circular manner to get the required shape or the required solid. After that, let us see how a solid cuboid is being formed. A cuboid is basically a solid bounded by 6 rectangular plane regions. It is formed by stacking rectangles linearly. So if I will be stacking rectangles linearly in a linear manner, then I will be able to get a solid object that will be a solid cuboid. You can see like this. So if I will keep on stacking the rectangles linearly, I will be able to get a solid cuboid. Now, how solid cones are being formed? They are formed by stacking triangles which are right angled in a circular fashion with edge which is right angled at the center. So they are formed by stacking triangles. If I need to get a cone, solid cone, I need to stack the triangles which are right angled in a circular manner. I need to stack them with edge which is right angled at the center. So after the formation of solids, let us have a look on the perspectives of looking at a solid. So in this, any 3D object when viewed from different positions might appear different. Actually, when we see at a solid object, it is not necessary that the whole solid object can be seen from one position. The view of the solid depends upon the position from where it is seen. So, it can be seen from the front, side or top. That is why we have in this chapter all the 3D objects are having a different front view, side view or top view. That is, when we see at a solid object, it is not necessary that whole solid object can be seen from one position. It can be seen from the front, top or side. You can understand this from this example. If a glass is being seen from the front, it will be like this only, the first figure. Second figure will be the side view, and if I will be looking at the glass from the top, this circle will be the top view of the glass. I hope this is very much clear to you. Now another example can be, let us say what will be the front view, side view and the top view of this figure. Now it is clearly shown in the next diagram, in the next figure. If you will be looking at the front view of this figure, then front view as it is mentioned in the second figure, it is clearly shown. Side view will be these two, and top view will also be as shown in the figure. I hope this is very much clear to you from the figure. So perspectives of looking at a solid, this is a very important aspect of this chapter, that we should know how a solid can be how a solid or how the view of a solid depends upon the position from where it is seen. Now another is mapping space around us. What do you mean by mapping space around us? Basically, in this concept, different scenarios, according to the different scenarios, we need to make a map. Like we used, suppose we need to go to any place, then in that case we need to take the help of Google Maps. Likewise, you need to according to the different scenarios in this concept, we need to make the map of a particular city or for a particular situation whatsoever it is given in the question. So a map, basically we are using maps in this case. So a map depicts the location of a particular object or place in relation to other objects or places. What is the need of the map then? So maps make our migration easier from one place to another. Obviously, if we do not know the way to go to our destination, then we take the help of the maps. So maps make our migration easier from one place to another place. These are the points regarding the map which are very important, and we are supposed to deal with them. Size of the object will remain the same irrespective of the observer's viewpoint. Wheresoever is the position of the observer, the size of the object will remain the same irrespective of the observer's viewpoint. Second is, to represent different objects or place, different symbols are used. As I told you, they are known as map symbols. The direction symbols are known as map symbols, and in these, while framing the map, we need to use the map symbols. Like in some of the maps, you find symbols representing trees on the roadside, river bodies in the city, etc. So map symbols are very important components that helps us to visualize the information in the most effective manner. After that, a particular scale is used to draw the map so that the lengths drawn are proportional with respect to the size of the original figures. And we can also, that is, we can determine the distance between two positions with the help of a map, and we take the help of scales in such case. A map scale is nothing but the measure of one unit shown in the map. So we can use map symbols, we can use scale, map scale, and likewise you can make the map or frame the map according to the given situation. Next comes the faces, edges and vertices. So what do you mean by faces? Flat surface of a solid is called its face. Solids have more than one face. What do you mean by a face or faces? Flat surfaces of a solid are called faces. Flat surface of a solid is called its face. Solids have more than one face. Cube and cuboids have 6 faces. Coming to edges now. Line segment which acts as an interface between two faces is called an edge. It is the line segment that joins two vertices. Simple as this. Cubes and cuboids have 12 edges. So flat surface of a solid is called its face. Solids have more than one face. For example, cubes and cuboids have 6 faces. Edges, what are edges? The line segment that joins two vertices are called edges. And example is cubes and cuboids have 12 edges. Now, what do you mean by a vertex? A vertex is a point where two or more edges meet. These are basically the corner points. In simple language, you can understand them like this. These are the corner points of a given figure. And cubes and cuboids have 8 vertices. So from this figure, it is very much clear to you. So what do you mean by a face? Flat surface of a solid is called its face. Corner points are the vertices, and the line segments joining the two vertices give you the edges. Line segment that joins two vertices are the edges. All the flat surfaces of the 3D shapes are the faces, and vertex is a point where two or more edges meet. So what do you mean by polyhedrons? Solids with flat surfaces are called polyhedrons, or a polyhedron is a solid in 3 dimensions with flat polygonal faces, straight edges and sharp corners or vertices. I am repeating it. A polyhedron is a solid in 3 dimensions with flat polygonal faces, straight edges and sharp corners or vertices, or in short, that this is also correct. Solids with flat surfaces are called polyhedrons, and examples of this or polyhedrons are also called polyhedra. For examples, cubes, cuboids, prisms and pyramids. These are the examples of polyhedrons. These are the solids. This is a solid with flat surface, so it is a polyhedron. This is also a solid with flat faces or flat surfaces, so this is again a polyhedron. Coming to non-polyhedrons. What do you mean by non-polyhedrons? Solids with curved faces are called non-polyhedrons. It means the solids with flat surfaces are polyhedrons. Solids with curved faces are called non-polyhedrons. These are the examples of non-polyhedrons, that is spheres, cylinders and cones are not polyhedrons, or they are non-polyhedrons because these are not made up of polygonal regions, or these are the solids with curved faces. So coming to the type of polyhedrons, first one is convex polyhedron. So what do you mean by a convex polyhedron? A polyhedron that is made up of convex polygon is called a convex polyhedron. These are the figures of convex polyhedron, and for this you should know what are convex polygons. A polygon in which each interior angle is less than 180 degree is called a convex polygon. Or we can say the polygons in which no portion of any of their diagonals lies exterior to the polygon are called convex polygons. So what do you mean by a convex polyhedron? Polyhedrons that are made up of convex polygons are called convex polyhedron, and convex polygons, the polygons in which no portion of any of their diagonals lies exterior to the polygon. In these figures you can see very clearly that in this no portion of their any of their diagonals lies exterior to the polygon, so these are convex polygons and hence they are convex polyhedron. Coming to next type, that is concave polyhedron. Simple polyhedrons which are not convex are called concave polyhedrons. So which are not convex means they need to be concave polygons. So what are concave polygons? Polygons in which a portion of at least one diagonal lies exterior to the polygon. So I am repeating it, a polygons in which a portion of at least one diagonal lies exterior to the polygon are called concave polygons. Or a polygon in which at least one interior angle is greater than 180 degree is called a concave polygon. So I hope these two types are very much clear to you. With the help of figures also you can understand them very clearly. Coming to next types, regular polyhedron and irregular polyhedron. Polyhedrons that are made up of regular polygons are called regular polyhedrons. Now, this is an example of regular polyhedron. This polyhedron is regular. It's all the faces are regular polygons. So what do you mean by regular polygons? In the previous lectures, I tried to show you the examples of regular polygons and they constitute regular polyhedron. A polygon which has all the sides of equal length and all its interior angles are of equal measure is called a regular polygon. And if a polyhedron consists of regular polygon, then it is a regular polyhedron. So coming to next type, that is irregular polyhedron. This polyhedron is not a regular polyhedron. Why? Because it is made up of irregular polygon. A polygon which is not regular is called irregular polygon. This example of rectangular prism, this is an example of rectangular prism. This polyhedron is not regular. All the faces are not regular polygons. So that is why it is an example of irregular polyhedron. Coming to the prism. The two most important members of polyhedron family around us are the prisms and pyramids. They play an important role in this chapter. What are prisms? What is a prism? If the top and bottom of a polyhedron are a congruent polygons and its lateral faces are parallelograms in shape, then it is said to be a prism. So what do you mean by a prism? If the top and bottom of a polyhedron are congruent polygons and its lateral faces are parallelograms in shape, then it is said to be a prism, and a prism is named after its base. So these are the two examples of a prism. First one is a rectangular prism. A prism whose base and top are congruent rectangles and lateral faces are rectangles is called a rectangular prism. And I told you that a prism is named after its base. So the base is a rectangle. So it is a rectangular prism. In the second case, the base is triangle, so it is a triangular prism. How will you define this triangular prism? A prism whose base and top are congruent triangles and lateral faces are rectangles is called a triangular prism. Types of prism. We have studied three types of prisms: triangular prism, rectangular prism and hexagonal prism. First of all, I am repeating the definition of prism. A polyhedron whose base and top are congruent polygons and whose lateral faces are parallelograms in shape is called a prism. First one is triangular prism. A prism whose base and top are congruent triangles and lateral faces are rectangles is called a triangular prism. Then we have rectangular prism. A prism whose base and top are congruent rectangles and lateral faces are rectangles is called a rectangular prism. In the similar manner, you can define hexagonal prism, that is a prism whose base and top are congruent hexagons and lateral faces are rectangles is called a hexagonal prism. Coming to pyramid. What do you mean by a pyramid? A polyhedron whose base is a polygon and whose lateral faces are triangles with a common vertex is called a pyramid. So what do you mean by a pyramid? A polyhedron whose base is a polygon, that polygon means of any number of sides, and whose lateral faces are triangles with a common vertex is called a pyramid. These are the two figures of the pyramid. From this you can easily identify and pyramid is also named after its base. So first one is a rectangular pyramid. Second one is a triangular pyramid. How will you define rectangular pyramid? A polyhedron whose base is a rectangle and whose lateral faces are triangles with a common vertex is called a rectangular pyramid. Likewise, you can define triangular pyramid. Now, these are the types of pyramid: triangular pyramid, rectangular pyramid and hexagonal pyramid. Triangular pyramid. What do you mean by a triangular pyramid? A polyhedron whose base is a triangle and whose lateral faces are triangles with a common vertex is called a triangular pyramid. As I told you earlier also, a pyramid is also named after its base. And one more thing, in this we have studied about tetrahedron also. Actually, tetrahedron is the special type of triangular pyramid in which all the faces are equilateral triangles. Now coming to rectangular pyramid. What do you mean by a rectangular pyramid? A polyhedron whose base is a rectangle and whose lateral faces are triangles with a common vertex is called a rectangular pyramid. Next one is hexagonal pyramid. So a polyhedron whose base is a hexagon and whose lateral faces are triangles with a common vertex is called a hexagonal pyramid. I hope the types of pyramids are very much clear to you now. Coming to Euler's formula, this is very important part of this chapter. Now, basically it shows the relationship between edges, faces and vertices of a polyhedron. We have studied about faces, edges and vertices. Now this formula shows the relationship between them, between these three. Every polyhedron will satisfy the criteria, and if any solid is given to us, given to you, and if you need to find out whether the given solid is a polyhedron or not, then you need to check this criteria, and this criteria is Euler's formula. This is the formula: F plus V is equal to E plus 2, or F plus V minus E is equal to 2. It is one and the same thing, where F is the number of faces of a polyhedron, V is the number of vertices of a polyhedron, and E is the number of edges of a polyhedron. Now let us take an example. In a pentagonal pyramid, suppose I need to find out the number of faces, vertices and edges. Then I can do in the following way, which I will be telling you right now. And first of all, you should know the number of sides of the bases. Here in pentagonal pyramid, the number of sides of the base is 5. This is the figure of the pentagonal pyramid. Now the number of faces will be 5 plus 1, that is 6. Number of vertices will be 5 plus 1, that is 6. Number of edges will be 5 into 2, that will be 10. So this is in general for a prism. You can find where S is the number of sides of the base of a given solid. F is equal to S plus 2 for prism. For a pyramid, it will be F is equal to S plus 1. V is equal to S into 2 for a prism. V is equal to S plus 1 is for a pyramid. And E is equal to S into 3. And E is equal to S into 2 for pyramid. Now coming to the homework solutions. This is question number 6. Till question number 5 you must have done. I hope you must have done all the questions of exercise 10.3. This is question number 6 of exercise 10.3. Verify Euler's formula for these solids. This is the solid given to you. Number of faces, first of all you need to find out, as I told you that Euler's formula is the relationship between faces, vertices and edges. So first of all you should know how many faces does a solid have. So first of all we will find that number of faces, F is equal to 7 by counting them using the figure. Number of vertices, V will be 10. Edges will be 15, and according to Euler's formula we know this relationship that F plus V minus E is equal to 2. So putting the values of F, V and E in the formula respectively, then you will be getting 2 on the right hand side, which is equal to the given formula right hand side. So we can say that Euler's formula is verified. I hope this is very much simple. Coming to second part, this is your second part. First of all you need to count the number of faces. Edges and vertices I explained you well. So I hope you know the difference between all these three. So faces will be 9 here in this. Vertices will be 9 again. Edges will be 16. And according to Euler's formula, we know this relationship. Putting the values and you will be getting the result equal to 2, that is equal to the right hand side of the given criteria. So hence this formula is verified. Coming to question number 7. Using the same concept, that is Euler's formula, we need to find the unknown. Where the question marks are given, you need to find the unknowns. So by Euler's formula we have F plus V minus E is equal to 2. In the first case, F we need to find out. You can take here any variable, or you can let it take, you can take F also. So F plus 6 minus 12 is equal to 2. So after solving you will be getting F is equal to 8. So F faces are 8 in the first case. Second part is we are supposed to find out vertices. Faces are 5 and edges are 9. So putting the values in the formula and you will be able to solve like this. F minus 4 is equal to 2. That will be V is equal to 6. Coming to third part, 20 plus 12 minus E is equal to 2. Then putting the values and you will be able to complete this table. Now next question is question number 8. Can a polyhedron have 10 faces, 20 edges and 15 vertices. If you need to find out whether a polyhedron can have these many faces, edges and vertices, then again you are supposed to use the Euler's formula concept. Simply you are supposed to put the values f, v and e, everything is given to you in this question, and if that is equal to 2, which is the right hand side of the given criteria, that is equal to 2, then that will be a polyhedron, otherwise that is not a polyhedron. So number of faces f is equal to 10, edges are again 20, vertices are 15. So putting the values in this formula, you will find that this is equal to 5, which is not equal to 2. Since Euler's formula is not satisfied, so this such a polyhedron is not possible. Now this is the your homework, today's homework. You are supposed to solve the assignment based on this chapter number 10, visualizing solid shapes, which I have uploaded in the homework column on the EdQuark site. I hope you must be having the user ID and the password of that particular site, EdQuark site. So I hope this revision lecture is very much clear to you, and I have tried my best to revise all the concepts of this chapter, and I hope you will be able to solve all the questions properly. Thank you so much.